Hello everyone and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7 and to the Trans Am Championship once again. It is round 3, a 2-hour race at the Nürburgring, and this time things will be happening a little bit differently. There is no qualifying for this round, just straight in to a 2-hour race. So it's going to be a big one. So without further ado, I think we should just get straight into it. All 3 tyre compounds will be required for this round, and because there is no qualifying, 2 points will be awarded for the fastest lap, which seems fitting for the most difficult lap of the season. But the other change for this round, the refuel rate is going to be even slower than it normally is, 1 litre per second. So for a full refuel it will be 100 seconds. There are the championship standings after the previous round in Brazil. Currently it is Heafy who leads the way, ahead of Ash, Sparrow and Joken, who will not be here for this round. But without further ado, let's get straight into it and see how everyone lines up on the grid. It is sorted by DR rank with no qualifying. So let's see how everybody stacks up as the sun rises and the tension builds here at the Nürburgring. It is time to go racing. Starting on pole position, it is John Teeter in the Ferrari liveried Corvette. Interesting combination. Beast of the Green Hell, Ash, starts in 2nd position. Amazing livery on that car. Artsy in 3rd in the Green Stuff Mustang. And then starting in 4th position, it is the Hot Stuff GT40 of Banana Notto. And in 5th position, it is Heafy, the championship leader. Everyone so far starting on hard compound tyres, as is Sparrow, as usual in the Superflow Camaro. Starting in 7th position, Jester has switched to the GT40 for this round. Be interesting to see how all these GT40s go. Shadow starts from P8, only one on the medium compound tyres. And then it is Ferb's 9th position, driving the Chevy Camaro this time. And then rounding out the starters in 10th position is myself in the GT40 I've been driving all season long. It's going to be a long race, 2 hours lie ahead. That's a very long and skinny track with a lot of corners to contend with. It's anyone's guess who's going to come out on top this time, so without further ado, let's get into it. And we're underway for round 3 of the Trans Am Championship here at the Nürburgring. It's a mixed start, few cars very slow off the line there on the left hand side. So that's immediately mixed things up here as we just sort of stick to the middle into the first corner. Heafy goes back around the outside as he was very slow away, and we'll slot in behind as a bit of contact there, and a slide. Heafy goes around, bit more contact as we had nowhere to go there, and Jester gets through to retake 8th position. But Heafy, a disaster there off the start. Just the slightest bit of contact from myself sends Heafy into a spin, so that's a real shame. Thankfully we've gotten through unscathed, but yeah, that was not an ideal way to get things started, and we already have a bit of space in front of us and behind us, so we'll have a look at some replays of the start, and we'll see what happened up and down the field, starting with the pole sitter on board with John Teeter, who was a little bit slow off the line. 3 wide into the first corner, bit of contact with the back of Artsy, who was sent deep there, and they're all still squabbling away. There's Ash on the outside, and Sparrow getting through on the inside as well, and then Ash and Artsy scrapping it out. Shadow gets through as well, so Teeter is tumbling down the order, very uncharacteristic, but not a great start from the Corvette. Now trying to fight it out, and there's another car on the inside. I believe that is Ferbs trying to get through, and there goes Ferbs. So that is job done as Teeter tries to get back around the outside, very late on the brakes, going quite wide through the long right-hander, but not able to make any progress there, and in fact maybe under fire once again, as there are more cars close behind Banana and Jester in hot pursuit. So yeah, there's still pressure on for Tita as he is continuing to tumble down the order into 6th position already, and very soon could be dropping down to 7th or 8th as he goes on to this kind of back straight of the GP circuit. Jester makes the move on Banana and now going to get down the inside of Tita as well. Amazing move from Jester there with the straight line speed to get that done, and takes 6th position. Jester, Tita drops into 7th rather, as we go on board with Artsy here off the start to see exactly what happened. Got a better start than Tita, probably the best start of the top 3, picks the middle, and then the bump from Tita sends Artsy deep, but still manages to keep things mostly under control, and then trying to get the power down. The track's a little bit greasy at the moment, it's slightly damp, and it's making traction, especially on these hard tyres that 9 of the 10 drivers are starting on, a little bit more tricky, as Ash manages to just about hold off Artsy for the time being, but Artsy not quite giving up yet as they run towards the next tight right-hander. Artsy down the inside and gets the move done on Ash. Nicely done there, as Shadow is making the move on Sparrow in the background. Might get a run on Ash, but didn't quite happen. Here's the onboard with Bananotto. Very, very slow off the line. That is quite insane how little acceleration some of these cars are generating off the start. So yeah, that's interesting. Of course, the start is only a few seconds of a very long race, so it's not critical, but it does make the job much harder, as he lets Ferbs through around the outside and slots in behind. So yeah, very steady starts from Bananotto, but soon gets into the rhythm of things, and now is within range of John Tita, but as we saw earlier, has not quite made the way through quite yet. Has a go on the inside of the right-hander here, but not able to get it done. Tita with the flowing line around the outside, able to hold on to that one. This is what we want to see though, the onboard with Heafy off the start, and again so slow off the initial launch, and there goes myself through on Heafy, but Heafy much later on the brakes, and had a clear space on the outside to be able to do that. But what happens here? We'll listen carefully. Yeah, wheel spin, I think. I don't think the contact was the sole responsibility for that spin, as we'll look off board as well to see exactly what happened. And I think there's the contact, and the spin came a little bit after, and there's the secondary hit. But at that point we didn't really have anywhere to go. Here's the onboard looking rearwards, and yeah, I think that spin was more to do with the wheel spin off the exit of turn 2 than the contact, but that may not have helped the situation. But anyway, we go on board with Sparrow, lightning reactions to get around Bananotto, who was very slow, as we've already covered, and nice start from Sparrow, and going 3 wide in front just about, as Sparrow's trying to pick the right path through, gets past Tita, and moves up into 3rd position as Artsy and Ash are getting into each other on the exit. Nicely done by Sparrow, and now on board with Jester, who was also very slow off the line as well, and you can see Ferbs arrowing through the middle of everyone. Brilliant launch. But yeah, Jester was last heading into turn 1, so had the best view of everything that was going on, and chooses to go to the inside. And as we go for a slide and Heafy spins, good reactions to get to the outside line there and avoid all of that. So that worked very well for Jester, and then here's the move that got Jester past both Banana and past Tita. Nice switch back onto the straight, beautiful driving there straight past the other GT40 and then past the Corvette as well and up into P6. So that worked very well for Jester, and starts making up for that very slow launch off the line. This is the other one as well that we want to have a look at. Oh, straight into the back of the almost standing still car there. The speed difference in a second of racing, extraordinary there. Shadow, I think, got the best out of anyone on the medium tyres. Of course, that would have helped. And also the GT40 can get off the line well, but some of them not so. I think the slow ones have the standard gearbox rather than the upgrade, which has 5 gears, which would definitely help as opposed to the standard 4-speed. So that's why I think mine and Shadows get off the line much better than Jester's and Bananas. But anyway, down the inside of Sparrow, big look there, bit of contact on the way through, but they did well to both continue on after that with no fuss. So Shadow's actually got some damage from that first lap, or from that bump with Banana off the start there. You can see it again on board with Verbs, who did a great job to stay out of trouble on the run towards the first corner, and yeah, runs very well in this race so far, very smooth through the first few corners, and just staying well out of trouble with the chaos that was unfolding in front and behind. And Banana looking for the move, but not getting there, backing out of that one, as up in front Shadow's going around the outside of Tita. Nicely done there. Tita's left out high and wide, and here Ferbs gets the run on the Corvette and makes that position, moves up into the top 5. So solid start, P9 up to P5 for John Tita. So very good stuff there, as to be fair, Shadow went from P8 to P3 now, so very good start for Shadow as well. But back on board with myself, bit of a mishap very early in this race, struggling to come to grips with the hard tyres because they don't have much grip to come to grips with. Anyway, further up the order, we've got a bit of a battle going on here. Banana making the move and getting through on John Tita finally. And that drops John Tita into 8th position, last except for myself and Heafy, and Heafy's had that spin, but gets back through as we just sidestep there and don't make a fuss out of that one. Up the road, Shadow's having a problem though. Off into the sand trap goes the GT40 and drops into P6. So that's a shame for Shadow, who made a lot of ground at the start of this one, but the damage probably making that car a little bit difficult to contend with at the moment. I know, because my car has a bit of damage too, and you know, when your car starts steering to one side on its own, it's not really a fun time. But there goes Shadow off the road again, and try and slow things down before rocketing back onto the road, drops into 8th position, and here comes Heafy as well into that section, starting to gain some time back on the group ahead, and Heafy actually runs off the road a little bit there too, and then not far behind Heafy is myself, and that's the back end of the racing pack. But things don't get much better for Shadow. Big crash there at one of the slowest corners on the circuit, and here comes Heafy now, trying to capitalize on that. Shadow is going to be under pressure now as we continue back on board with myself into the barriers there, and I'm really struggling as well. So it's not been fun for the bottom 3 in the race so far, but we'll see how things progress as Heafy goes for the move around the outside of Shadow, who just gives that one up and chooses not to make a fuss there, as we all continue to race on. And yeah, we'll see, perhaps we can catch up to Shadow. It'll be a race to see who has the most damage or the least damage, and can, you know, still drive at a decent pace. But the battle's getting pretty spicy at the front. Ash, Artsy's in the lead. Ash not terribly far behind, and there's a good scrap for 3rd down to 5th as well. So there's plenty to watch out for in this one, as Ash is now right on the back of Artsy, but there's probably not really any way through here, heading up to the first of the carousels. Artsy leads ahead of Ash in second position. We'll scroll through the field. Third is Sparrow, then it's Ferbs, Jester, and then it is Banana. Back to John Teeter, who runs in 7th position in the Corvette, jackhammering through the carousel. And then we get back to Heafy, who runs down in 8th position, has recovered somewhat from the messy start, and then drops it out of the carousel off the top there. And Shadow closing in once again. And is there going to be another change of position here? There is. Shadow gets up the inside, and Heafy gives that one up. And then myself still down in 10th position, trying to catch up to those two who are squabbling away at the moment. So that is how things stand after almost the first lap has been completed, as we bounce it over the curbs there. Back to the front of the field though, and Sparrow has joined this top 3 scrap, and we now have 2 Camaros harassing the back of the Mustang that leads. And there's really not much in it between those 3. Ash is all over the back of Artsy, and this battle's pretty close as well. Jester around the outside of Ferbs, a little bit off the road there for Jester, and that's going to be dirty tyres for the GT40 there, and a bit wide again, and that's going to allow Banana through on the inside, and Jester drops back 1 position into P6. So yeah, it's unfortunate for Jester there, and has dropped out of that one. But Artsy in the lead comes into the pits, as does Ash and Sparrow and a whole heap of others. I think there's like 7 cars straight into pit lane within a couple of seconds there, and there's John Teeter into pit lane as well. So yeah, that is the top 7 all in pit lane at the moment. Ash, Artsy, Sparrow, Jester, Banana and Teeter all getting a new set of tyres on. Everyone onto the mediums with the exception of Banana, who heads onto the soft compound tyres. We'll save the mediums for later in the race. And yeah, we bounce away over the curbs there as well, as we also head towards pit lane. And we'll see how things all go. But out of pit lane, we'll check the order once again. It is Artsy, Ash and Sparrow still the top 3 ahead of Ferbs. And there is Jester. Banana's next on the soft compound tyres. Teeter has dropped off the back out of pit lane, a long way behind the next group, but has put some additional fuel in compared to the others. And then it's Shadow, who goes onto the hards after starting on the mediums, goes very deep. That allows Heafy through, and Heafy I think has moved on to the soft compound tyres. I'll be moving on to the softs as well, and yeah, we'll just see how they go for us. We'll refuel, and you can get a sense of the refuel rate here as we wait and wait for that to top up. It's going to take a long time in the next pit stop when we will be fueling up to the end of the race after a lengthy stint. But a bit of damage repair as well, and we head out of pit lane. So that's the entire field cycled through the pit lane on the first lap, and yeah, we're now onto the soft tyres. I don't know how long I'm going to run these soft tyres, because I wasn't that confident on these tyres. They seem to upset the balance of the car in a weird way. I think my favourite tyres to run on were the mediums, so we'll just keep an eye on that and see how these tyres go. But if they're not working for me, I might go for an early switch to medium tyres. Meanwhile, there's a bit of aggro here as Banana is on the back of Jester. Tries to look to the inside, no way through there yet, but manages to get through as Jester lifts out of that one. And the 2 GT40s swap places there as we look back to Heafy, who's on the back of John Teeter. And Heafy, like I said, running the soft tyres in this race, and gets through on John Teeter with the better grip out of the corner, and that's very nicely done there as we continue to look forward back to the other soft tyre runner further up the field. Banana in the GT40 closing in to Ferbs, and will be very swiftly making a move, I would imagine, as now looking to the inside. Banana goes for the move, and I think gets through there. Verbs doesn't put up too much of a fight, and that is a P4 for the Banana at the moment. The next target will be Sparrow, and Ash and Artsy not too far up the road. The whole field quite condensed at this stage, as he gets the move done on Sparrow. Sparrow not putting up too much of a fight there, so making good use of the soft compound tyres so far is the Banana, as on the exit of the sort of carousel section, Jester also makes the move on Ferbs, and makes a little bit of progress forwards in the race, running well in the GT40 this round. As we look further afield, what do we have going on here with Shadow coming through the right-hander? Off the road goes Shadow, and that'll cost a little bit of time, potentially some damage there as well for Shadow. Heafy not having much better luck either though, and drives it into the fence as well. So yeah, a few little mishaps creeping into this stage of the race. John Teeter looks to be getting back through, and moves back ahead of Heafy, drops Heafy down into 8th, Teeter back up to P7, but still a ways off of the top fight in the Corvette there. Back with Ash, who is running second in this race so far, with a very hard charging Banana just in behind, and it probably won't be too long before Bananotto tries to make the move on Ash, and here we go, looking for the move down the inside, and gets through, and now already will have his sights set on Artsy as they head through the second carousel, drop it out of the top, and now just the sweeping right-hander onto the straight. Important to get a good exit here, and try and get into the slipstream of the very big Mustang in front in the little GT40, and the opportunity might be there to make the move along the straight. Plenty of horsepower in both of these cars as they head along the straight, pop out to the right hand side, and Banana makes the move in a straight line to take the lead away from Artsy, and can now push on those soft tyres in clean air, as we've got Jester now on board, zooming past Sparrow there, and that is a very nice move, as now heading in through these couple of slight corners that just get tighter and tighter as you get harder and harder onto the brakes, and eventually onto the straight, as into the pits comes Artsy, Ash, Jester, Sparrow, and Ferbs stays out, but many pit stops happening here at this stage of the race. At the end of the second lap, everyone will be ditching their medium compound tyres, switching them out for softs, with of course the exception of Banana, who just fitted the softs on the previous lap. But Jester comes out in third position, so potentially Ash and Artsy putting some fuel in, but Jester went a bit deep into the first corner. Sparrow's got the run now on the exit, gets through. Jester doesn't fight that one too hard. Sparrow now up into third position, the leader of those who have completed the required strategy in the race so far, with Ferbs yet to use the softs in second position, and the Banana yet to use the mediums, leading the way at the moment. Here comes Teeter, currently running down in 8th position. Shadow is in the pit lane as well, and fits the soft compound tyres, and then on board with myself. A little bit of a mishap there at the end of the back straight, and yeah, that's how easily things can go wrong at that section. Checking for damage, looks like we've got a little bit to the rear and rear left, so that's unfortunate, but we'll carry on. Don't drive into the wall there, that's was almost a silly mishap there as I was too busy checking out the damage. But anyway, we're back on it again, and unfortunately we still run down in 10th position even after everyone ahead had made their pit stops. So yeah, not really in contention here, but we'll keep pushing on. We'll see what we can do if anything happens, we might be able to pick up the pieces. If anyone has a catastrophic crash in the first half of the lap, you can lose a lot of time bringing the car back around. So, you know, that's always a possibility when you're always just millimeters away from disaster here at the Nürburgring. But at the moment, it's the Banana who leads the way. As I mentioned, still yet to use the mediums. Ferb's in second, still yet to use the softs. But those two, one pit stop short of everyone else. But they lead the way by a significant margin. It's Sparrow who runs in third position as we continue to scroll through the running order, with Jester not too far behind. But a good run from those two so far. Then Azarzi, who I assume must have put some fuel in at the previous stop. Heafy too has only made one stop so far, is yet to use the medium compound for that car. And then it is Ash who has, I think, put a full tank of fuel in. So that explains the drop in position since the pit stop. And then John Teeter, long way back, also has a full tank of fuel though, so has that to gain later on. But yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. But John Teeter runs down in 8th position so far as the Chevy heads out onto the Nordschleife. Running down in 9th position is Shadow in the GT40. And quite nostalgic, that livery, I do have to say. But anyway, it has also completed tyre requirements. So yeah, we'll see how things play out. Not sure what the fuel situation is for Shadow, but myself not too far behind Shadow. So we'll see if I can make an effort to catch up, and we can have our own little battle for last position while everyone else is steaming up the road. But back on board with myself, and a little bit of a hop over the curbs there. And I've been struggling with that section for, you know, all throughout practice, and, you know, even earlier in the race you saw I had the little incident there, and that time we get a penalty. So still not quite getting those a few corners right, but we'll keep improving over the course of the race, as we've got Jester right on the back of Sparrow here, and there's a little switchback going on. Jester tries to get it to the inside. Sparrow is not going to quite give this one up just yet, and Jester backs out of it as they keep fighting on. Jester slips through on the inside, moves up into 3rd position. Nicely done there. That was a good little scrap between those two. Meanwhile, back on board with myself, we are slowly but surely catching up to Shadow, so we may be able to rescue something from this race, which has not gone well in the opening phases. But Shadow, a little bit of an awkward line through there. We've got some good speed coming through here, as we're both on the horns to each other as we sit in the slipstream, but there's not really anything we can do along here, as, to be fair, not a lot of great overtaking opportunities here at the Nürburgring, and quite often you just have to wait for the car in front to make a mistake. But we'll see what happens. A little bit of a bad run through there. That's cost us a little bit of time. But as we continue on through the slower speed stuff, we get a good run there, and again don't really have anywhere to go, as Shadow was struggling with that section of the track. But through that low speed stuff we did gain a bit of time. Bit of an awkward positioning there for us though. We lose out through the next section. So yeah, it's a tricky situation for us. We'll just see if we can wait for an opportunity, as we look forward to Heafy, who's into the barrier quite hard there, and that'll be damage surely for Heafy. We look further back to see Ash coming through and getting ahead of Heafy, and Heafy slots in behind, and Ash will continue on in clean air. But on board with myself now, we are catching up to Shadow. We've got a good run here, and we've lifted out of that a little bit, as Shadow's hit both barriers there. We'll get through, and that was two drivers trying to be too nice to each other. I lifted out of it because I wasn't sure if Shadow saw me coming. Shadow did see me coming and left the entire track and then some to try and give as much space as possible. So yeah, that was a little more awkward than it needed to be, but we're both still pointing in the right direction, so that's the main thing. But yeah, that was an awkward moment there, but through the carousel we go. We've got ourselves settled back down again, and we'll push on, see if we can create a gap. But the gap to John Cena ahead is ever increasing, so I don't think either of us will be in that little fight further up the road. But here we go on board to see what it looked like from Shadow's perspective. And oh, that was a bit of a moment there. Oh, catch it. There we go. Get going again. That was a bit of a weird moment there. But anyway, we look to Heafy, who's going very slowly onto the straight. Not sure what's going on there. Currently runs in 7th position, but is very slow along the straight. So not sure what's going on there for Heafy, as John Teeter is about to get through. There he goes in the foreground, and Heafy drops into 8th position. So not sure what the issue is, but Heafy very slow on the straight. Back on board with myself, and we go for a little bit of a slide as we head onto the straight, so it's not a great exit. That's another corner I've really been struggling with around this circuit, as we are about to serve that penalty. We got way back at the start of the lap, and now Shadow might have a run back at us. It's going to be pretty close as we head towards the end of the straight. He's gaining and gaining, especially in the slipstream, so we'll see what happens as those headlights are getting closer and closer as we continue to frantically look back. Off the road that we go, though. We got a little bit too distracted there. We just about keep it off the wall as we scramble back onto the road. Now I have to try and get it slowed down for the couple of tight corners at the end of this section. We just about managed to do it. There's Heafy still going very slowly, as we'll get past Heafy up into P8 in this race. Shadow heads into pit lane, and we somehow both survive that little moment. But you'll see what this looked like from off board, as we're both too busy looking at each other and not at the track. Shadow followed me off the road and managed to get it back on a little bit more sensibly than I did, but still, that was a wild moment for us both. Some miracle we both kept it out of the wall, but yeah, that was a tense moment, and Shadow brings it into the pit lane, and as does Heafy. So Shadow, no tyres, just a bit of a repair job for the GT40 there, and Heafy in pits as well, as Shadow comes out of pit lane now. Heafy, not sure what's going on there. No work going on the car at the moment. Meanwhile, further up the order, we've got Sparrow going wide, and that's allowed Artsy through, and that's a change for position there, with Sparrow dropping down into P5, Artsy up into P4. So you know, chopping and changing all the time, as Sparrow's lost a couple of spots recently, lost out to Jester just before as well. And speaking of, Jester makes the move on Ferbs, who is still on the medium tyres, so that's a tyre compound difference there. Ferbs maybe trying to do one less pit stop by running the mediums longer. That is what I'm doing as well, or planning to do, as into the pits comes Ferbs to get rid of those medium compound tyres, puts a set of soft tyres on, and we'll run those for the next section of the race. Meanwhile, Jester comes through the chicane, picks up a penalty for a little corner cut there, so yeah, there's a bit of that going on at the moment, as we look back to Shadow, who's got caught on the grass and spins it around into the first corner and gets the resets for good measure. So that's unfortunate for Shadow, bit of time loss, but no damage thankfully from that kind of incident, and carries on and navigates the first few corners once again, a little more successfully this time. So Shadow will carry on, but has lost a chunk of time out of that little moment. Back on board with myself then, and there's not too much going on for me at the moment. A little bit caught up on the outside as we head through the left-hander here, but yeah, we are just minding our own business, really. Bit of a corner cut there. That's got another penalty for us as we try and navigate this very tricky section of the circuit. The entire second half of the lap is quite tricky, to be honest. Not that the first half of the lap is easy, but anyway, Sparrow into the pits as we continue to watch on, and Shadow continuing on. What's going to happen here as we continue to watch through, keeping things nice at the moment, but yeah, it's been a rough race for Shadow so far, and oh, disconnects from the race. That is unfortunate. That's incredibly frustrating. Nothing you can do about that, but we'll complete less than 5 laps before getting disconnected, and that will more or less resign Shadow to 9th or 10th position in this one. Depends what happens with Heafy. But anyway, the Banana continues on into pit lane, picks up a penalty through the last few corners. So it's happening to a few of us at various parts of the circuit. Sets of medium tyres go on for the Banana as we continue to look further afield. And oh, that's a spin there for Sparrow onto the straight. But we'll get things pointed in the right direction again, as you can see the sun has clearly set here at the Nürburgring. Sparrow running down in 7th position at the moment, but it's really hard to tell where everyone truly is with varying pit stop strategies at the moment. So won't get too excited over positions until all the pit stops have been made. But Ash makes the move there and gets ahead of the Banana as we go on board. Let's see the replay of that, just the better traction and able to get through with the superior tire grip. So with Banana Notto on the mediums, now has to feel what everyone else was on lap 2 of the race. So yeah, that's what's going on towards the front of the field. But meanwhile, we bit of a grind of the wall there for the Banana, so that's not ideal, and that could be a bit of damage as well. Just drifted out wide, almost caught it, but then the wall just came up a little bit too quickly, and the edge of the circuit, the grass, once you get to that grass, it's really hard to save it, and that's what's caught out Banana Notto right there in that situation. But anyway, on board with myself, and speaking of getting caught out by the grass, there's another one. So yeah, as the sun has set and visibility gets a lot more difficult, I think these mistakes will start to creep in more and more. But that's not the only thing that can go wrong. Let's check in with Jester.
I should. What a...
No, you stupid wheel. I'm out.
Oh no.
I'm out. I went to pit, I was changing my dial, and the fucking pause menu come up and auto drive took over, and I've driven straight past the pit and I've got 0% fuel. I'm out.
Oh no.
Man, you had so much speed too.
What a shame for Jester. That is just heartbreaking. Through no real fault of his own. Out of the race, out of fuel, just starting a new lap. That is incredibly frustrating, and will score no better than 8th position in this race. Anyway, back to the action, and there's Jester pulling it off the road as into the pits comes Artsy, and some fresh tyres go on that car, as into the pits also comes the Banana to get some new tyres on. Soft tyres for the pair of them as they begin to think about the later stages of this one, as we're deep into the night now. Ferb's coming into pit lane as well to get a new set of tyres on and top up the fuel tank as well, as we also see Banana still in pit lane, but on board with myself as we come around to end the 7th lap. little aggressive through the little wavy corners there at the end of the straight, and that'll attract a handful of penalties for us as we just about to get it stopped. Didn't hit any barriers, that's the main thing. 1 second penalty is not a big deal at the end of the day. But on will go the medium tyres. We'll top it up with fuel. We'll skip past that whole refuel process, because that will literally take more than a minute and a half, 100 seconds, minute 40, to refuel the tank from empty to full. Slightly less than that, of course, because we still had some fuel left, but a lengthy refuel nonetheless. And yeah, we come out of pit lane. We'll continue on our way, currently in 7th position, due to the troubles everyone else has had throughout the course of this race so far. But anyway, back to the action. There's a little bit of a battle going on here as Bananotto gets through on Ferbs and moves up another position there. So yeah, that's Bananotto up into P5, Ferbs down to P6 after that maneuver. This is a clip from Ferb's live stream. Check out the VR at night at the Nürburgring. That is certainly a different experience and quite cool. But anyway, as we head around the back section of the circuit on board with Ferbs, we get a real experience of what this is like. Oh, straight ahead into the barrier goes Ferbs. What on earth happened there? Big hit into the wall. That'll be massive damage. And then straight ahead into the other one. Ferbs has lost all steering and presumably accelerator or brake as well. That is a massive failure of some kind there for Ferbs. That was a hard hit into the outside barrier. Not sure what happened, but clearly something has gone horribly wrong. And that is the end of the day for Ferbs. We'll retire and we'll score no better than 7th at the end of this one. That's a real shame. It's been a tough race. That is 4 cars so far that will not be making it to the end. Heafy is still stationary in pit lane, by the way, has not retired from the race as Ash gets a new set of boots on the car, and Tita running much higher in the race at the moment than we saw earlier, but will now, I think, be coming into pit lane. So we'll see how everything shakes out. But Tita currently 2nd before heading into the pits for, of course, tyres and fuel. Soft tyres to the end for just about everyone at this point. I don't think anyone has got their medium tyres to run. I'm still on mediums, but I'll be planning to run those to the end anyway, as we see more pit stops. That's Sparrow coming into the pits, and Sparrow 2 will fit more soft compound tyres and fuel up for the end of the race. But Ash out of pit lane and about to head back out of the GP circuit and onto the Nordschleife once again, and leads the way at the moment, looking very strong at this stage of the race, it's got to be said. Artsy, though, not too far behind, and is still well in contention at this stage, but has some slightly older tyres on the car at this point. The Banana runs in 3rd position in the lead GT40, so despite strength in numbers, the GT40s 3rd is the best they've got at the moment. Running in 4th position is John Tita in the Corvette. Decent showing for that car. That doesn't quite seem to have the pace, but Tita's trying to drag a good result out of it. Has a fair bit of fuel on board that car, more than the 3 cars in front, so can afford to burn a little bit of that to try and generate some extra speed, but has a lot of time to make up, and at a guess I would say runs about a minute off the race lead, so not really in hot contention for this one, but we'll see how it all plays out over the course of the rest of the race. Sparrow's next. Sparrow actually has the most fuel out of anyone, a full tank at this stage, so has filled it up and is going to go on a tear at the end of this one to see if there is time to be gained by turning up the fuel map, I suppose. Yeah, running it rich to the end, but at the moment sits probably more than a minute and a half or so off the lead. So that's how the faster contenders run so far. Myself in 6th position as we continue to watch on with Sparrow. There I am as we make our way through, and yeah, running in 6th position, just picking up the pieces as a lot of people have retired from this one or have struck various troubles, and we've been able to make our way up the field just by staying in the race and trying not to have any monstrous crashes as we go a little bit wide there, but we still have kept things mostly pointing in the right direction so far. But yeah, we still have damaged the car on a few occasions, so it hasn't been perfect, but so long as we just keep pushing on at a decent pace, there's not too much that can go wrong. As we continue on, there's something that can go wrong. Little bounce off the barrier, but it's not too bad. So long as the car, even if it's damaged, so long as it still tracks fairly straight, it's not too bad. Once the car starts turning on its own, that's when you start having some real handling issues. But anyway, we go back to Ash, who is charging away in the race lead at the moment, and that is going to be the start of, I think, the 11th lap of this race. So it's been a long one so far, and have a look at this. We've got Heafy. The sign flips over, and it's time for Heafy to get back onto circuit after spending, I think, the better part of an hour in pit lane. Heafy finally gets back on circuit, and we'll try and complete a couple more laps. Shadow completed just under 5 laps, I think, so Heafy is just starting lap 4 for Heafy, so if Heafy can complete a few more laps, maybe could move up a position as he finds the barrier there, and there goes Artsy getting through. So not a great moment there as Heafy's trying to get going again, and we'll be wary of the blue flags as all of the leaders will be steadily making their way through. Here's the onboard with Artsy of that little moment, and yeah, Heafy just keeping it off the road there after that mistake. So we'll continue to watch on with Heafy to see how Heafy's progress goes. No one else is really close to each other on circuits. Heafy has a little wobble there and continues to struggle a bit to get back up to speed after just getting back into the race. Wide again there to let Banana go through, and we'll continue on again. So yeah, it's a bit of a rough restart to the race for Heafy, and oh, there's a big slide there. Manages to keep things pointing in the right direction in the end, but yeah, it's not been great for Heafy so far on this lap, but just needs to complete the laps. They don't need to be fast as Heafy finds the wall again, and unfortunately for Heafy, this continues as he heads through the right hand here. Another big slide on the exit, loops it around, and that's a full spin on that occasion as the yellow flags are now waved. Heafy gets moving again, and yeah, needs to just calm things down a little bit. Been a lot of mistakes on this outlap, and probably damage from the first one has not helped the cause for the rest of them. There's another one. And don't worry, we'll stop picking on you in a minute, Heafy, but right now there's nothing else going on in the race, so this is all we've got as we continue to watch on. Another car catching up in the background. I think that might be Tita coming through. It is, and Heafy lets Tita go through, and oh, slide into the second carousel there, off into the grass and the barrier there. Giving the barriers a workout so far is Heafy, but eventually Heafy will come back to the final corner and head into a pit lane and get a new set of tyres on, get that damage fixed, and we'll try this one again. Heafy just needs to complete one more lap to salvage P9 out of this race. On board with myself, a little bit greedy over the inside curb there, runs us a little bit wide, and that might attract another penalty as we fly it into the final few corners. There's the penalty, very deep we go there, just about get it pulled up, but we couldn't have been too much later on the brakes there as we were absolutely skating it in sideways into the final few corners there, but we get things going again as we continue to push on, and I'm really starting to push now because the leaders are closing in. I don't really want to get blue flagged, and that was a very silly mistake. I just got out of sync. Trains carry too much speed into the chicane, and then yeah, just sort of lost where I was on the circuit a little bit, going that far out to the left, running a bit wide there, and then I put too much of an effort into getting back over to the right and not enough into slowing down. So yeah, that's what happened there, and then once I realized I was in trouble, there wasn't really any getting out of it, unfortunately. So that's damaged the right front corner of the car to go with the rest of the front end damage that we've got. So yeah, that's the damage that we had wasn't that bad. I wasn't really feeling it too much, but now it's bad as Heafy flicks it around into the first corner, and we'll get it going again. Clips the inside wall though upon getting going again, so the troubles continue for Heafy, but just continues to tick off the laps, and with 5 laps now completed, has moved ahead of Shadow in the race positions as we go deep into the first corner. And yeah, we just had an awkward moment getting a bit distracted on the grass there, and now I've got Ash coming through, so I was going to you know, stay off to the side of the road, but then we got the reset anyway, so that was fun. But yeah, just a terrible run through the first few corners. It was all out of shape, so yeah, we'll get through there again a bit more successfully this time, and yeah, we'll carry on. But we're getting to the end stages of the race now. There's hardly any time left relatively compared to the 2 hours we started with. Meanwhile, the action's not quite over. Still a fight for position further up the field as Bananotto is on the back of Artsy and might be able to take that position. They're on the same tyres, but Artsy's are a little bit older, so let's see what happens here as Artsy covers the inside. Banana is going to try and switch this one back. Artsy goes deep, and that's a textbook switchback for the pretend Hot Wheels car, and Banana gets through, moves up into second position, and that's a nice little move there. But we look now to Heafy, who is actually going to be the first to cross the line after the 2 hours is up, but will of course not be the race winner, but will take 9th position. Ignore the 7. We're basing this on laps completed, not actually crossing the line at the end. But yeah, that is Heafy, the first to complete the race. But the race leader is Ash, who has driven an almost perfect race. Lost the lead for a while at the start to Artsy, but got it back later on, and yeah, never looked back from that moment. So it is going to be redemption after being so close to the victory at Interlagos. John Teeter took that one, but here at the Nürburgring, Ash is unstoppable. And Ash will take a victory here, flashing the headlights and weaving to the line. Has the time to do that, all the time in the world. And Ash takes victory. Here comes the Banana along the back straight. It'll be second place for the GT40. Very nice drive. Different strategy to everyone else, made it work. There's Artsy in third position. Fourth place will go to John Teeter. And a bit of a quiet day, but picking up some valuable points nonetheless. And then P5 for Sparrow, and the other Camaro started very strongly and sort of slipped back towards the end. And then it'll be P6 for myself. in the corrected order, we'll have Ferbs in P7, Jester 8th, then it'll be Heafy 9th, and Shadow rounding out the points scorers for this round of the 10 who started. So there we go, that brings an end to the action here at the Nürburgring. Really fun race, really enjoyed this round. Had a good battle with Shadow for a bit there. Unfortunately with the disconnect we never really saw the end of that, but I feel like that is a battle that could have raged on for a little longer in that race, but wasn't to be, unfortunately. And yeah, the DNFs certainly helped me in this race, probably helped a few others as well. We saw John Teeter quite slow at the start, and yeah, definitely could have helped Teeter, Sparrow, the others who struggled for you know, pace and track position towards the end, but ultimately we'll never know what would have happened. But yeah, that was a really fun race. As I said, really enjoyed it, and such a long race. Glad to get through it with you know, only minor injuries to the car. But anyway, let's have a little look at the championship standings then after that round. Ash leads the way on 87 points. Sparrow sits in second position on 72, just one ahead of Heafy, who scores enough points to sort of stay in contention, I suppose, third in the standings. So, you know, worth staying in the race and getting those extra couple of points. Myself, fourth in the standings on 67 at the moment. And then P5 for Ferbs, the last, or not quite the last of those who have done all three races. Jester further back in 7th position with John Teeter. Same points as John Teeter. John Teeter scoring those points over 2 races. Shows the bad luck that Jester has had with the off on the final lap of Daytona, and then the issues today as well. It's not been a lucky season so far, but still 2 rounds to go, so anything can happen. Bathurst is up next, so that's going to be a very fun one. But for now, that is all. So thank you all so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Please feel free to give me some feedback in the comments, so it's very helpful. And other than that, see you in the next one, and goodbye.